Did you think this is one of those trades that you're doing as an artist that could be disrupted by, say, an artificial intelligence?
It is in a way already.
What's up,
What's
man?
up? What's happening, man? How you doing?
I'm doing great. I am doing great. And welcome to the Crucible. I am Paulie, by the way.
I'm Emil.
You are Emil. Kind of a big show, you think?
I think so. I think it's a really big show. It's really good stuff.
Well,
But stick around to the end.
To
find out about this beautiful giveaway. That'll be at the end.
I lost a bet. We'll get into that in another episode.
Yeah.
We'll have to talk about that later. But why don't you kick us off here?
Sure. Yeah. Today we have a special guest on. We've had many guests in the past, but today's is an incredible engraver, fantastic artist, has worked with the Sunshine Mint, has over 1,000 coins, medals, tokens in her portfolio, has worked in several capacities with Golden State Mint, Provident Metals, the U.S. Mint, and Sunshine Mint. And is a past Citizens Coinage Advisory Committee member at the U.S. Mint, and also several pieces of this person's portfolio are in the permanent collection at the Brook Green Gardens, British Museum, and Smithsonian, as well as American Numismatic Society and the Boston Museum of Fine Arts. Without further ado, let me go ahead and bring her up. Here we go.
Hi, guys.
Hello,
Heidi Wastweet. How you doing?
Great. Thanks for having me, you guys.
Well, thanks for being on the show.
Yes, definitely. Thanks for joining us.
So if you're a viewer or a listener and you're just tuning in, we have Heidi Wastweet. She has a lot of really great pieces that you may or may not even know that you have in your collection.
Yes.
Some of the modern pieces that we collect. I have a few sitting right here on my desk. For example, if you guys, let me see if that's even zoomed in or not. Yeah. But we have the Egyptian God series. You got Sobek, you got Anubis. Yeah, these fantastic designs on the back. I got my stickers.
It's 2 ounce, right?
Yeah, nice chunky 2 ounces. And these were with Provident, correct?
That's right, Provident Metals. Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. So, what got you into engraving, or how did you even get into engraving?
Well, kind of by chance. I never really thought about coins before, and I lived in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, which is the same place where Sunshine Mint is. And they had a job opening. I was an artist. I hadn't really thought about that vein of art before. I was only 18. I took in my portfolio and they hired me. And here we are, 30 some years later. It was a fit.
That's fantastic. And to think that, I think a lot of people have the misconception that you have to go to school to have that, fine arts education. And I think you're living proof that that's not necessarily required, right?
Absolutely. I like to say, if you're a doctor, please go to school. But,
yeah, right.
But as an artist, you can do it other ways. There are, a treasure trove of books. Today we have YouTube, which has lots and lots of learning opportunities. Huge. I used to practically live at the library. That's where I really started learning art. And then the generosity of the other artists around me. And when it comes to coin sculpting and metals, there isn't a school, there isn't a class that one could go to. The only way is to get in with a network with other people who are already doing it. And those medallic artists I have found over and over again are very generous with their information, very welcoming to new people, especially young people wanting to learn the craft. We want to keep the craft alive and build on the old traditions and not lose that. So anybody who's young and interested in this, don't be shy, just go for it. And the community is very welcoming. So that's the way I learned, and just by doing, and then of course getting hired at a mint was my real education there, because I wasn't just doing the artwork. I was working in the shop. When I got hired there was only 10 employees. Now there's, well over 100. I was the first woman in the shop. Mm-hmm. And so I did work with I was cutting dies, heat treating dies, working in the metal shop, working with the coin presses, packaging, working in the office, talking to clients, and I did everything except pour the molten metal. And that now is the knowledge that I bring with me, that I know that everything that I do in the artwork affects everybody else down the line. And I want to make it easier, not harder on those people in the production floor.
Right. That's interesting you said that. Did you think this is one of those trades that you're doing as an artist that could be disrupted by, say, an artificial intelligence?
It is in a way already.
Is
We
it?
have 3D sculpting and, of course, AI. And I see a lot of people trying to convert 2D images to 3D milled processes. And I think sometimes the buyer doesn't really understand what they're even looking at or buying, what's had hand to it and what hasn't. Sometimes the quality is really obvious. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes technology is just taking over the things that we don't necessarily want to do by hand. Like I used to do tedious logos and letterings in the past that couldn't be done by machines. And now, because machines are good at that sort of thing, that actually frees me up to do more creative work. So there's always a trade-off there. You got some plus, some minus. And another advancement that's good for me is the old system of reducing metals. I sculpt in an 8-inch diameter plaster, and then that is reduced to the size of the coin, and whatever size that is comes from the same size model. And that was reduced with a pantograph, which was invented in the turn of the century. And it has a stylus that traces over the sculpture. But now they do that with a laser, which has no wear and tear on the model because it's just light that's touching it. So that's a great advancement.
Sure. You see a lot of that, a lot of laser work nowadays.
Now, talking about the education that you received from mentors, have you yourself mentored others?
Many.
Many?
Yeah.
What's many, like 20?
Yeah, I've had over 20 apprentices in my studio. And then I also teach a workshop at Brook Green Gardens every year. It's a 1-week intensive workshop. I've had some other people just come to my studio for a week and study. And I'm always answering emails. And so unofficial mentorships by remote means, lots of variety. So hard to count.
So can I bring up a couple of the works that you've done that I'm sure somebody in the chat is probably going to say, "Oh, I have one of those." Is that okay?
Only the good ones.
Only the good ones. Okay, everything is good, so that makes this easy. Okay, talk to us about this.
This one I do have.
Oh, you have this one, the purple version.
Yep.
You're lucky.
Yep.
You're lucky.
Yes.
I do not get this. Because even though I'm a designer, we have to stand in line with the rest of you to buy them. And those were.
I speak about the U.S. Mint a lot on YouTube. Yeah, and this is one that we touched on quite a bit.
So this one was sold out by noon, so I didn't even get one. Fortunately, a very kind friend did get one and gifted it to me, so I have one.
That's great.
This is I believe it's the first time that they've done the colored enamel on a U.S. coin.
Right.
Because I think the basketball, which had some orange, I think that came after this. And so people were really excited that this was very unique. And of course, the design lent itself perfectly to that. I didn't know it at the time that I designed it, but it just seemed to fit. And they were kind of looking for an opportunity to do some color. And that just fit really, really well. And then I wanted, for this topic, I thought it was important to bring in the medics into this scenario because they were so important to every single soldier that was wounded on 100%. The battlefield. And I did hear some feedback afterwards that those people really appreciated being represented. So that was really gratifying.
Oh, I bet. That's awesome. It's a beautiful piece.
Thank you.
Definitely is.
All right. Talk to us about this one right here.
That's quite a shift.
This is one of my favorites, honestly. I love the Egyptian Gods series. But tell us how did you get the inspiration to design one like this?
So this was my first one in the Egyptian series. Provident Metals had approached me and they said, "We want a sexy Cleopatra. So I said, well, that sounds fun. And I wanted to do some experimenting with cutting above and below the surface on the coin. And they were just starting to do these ultra high reliefs, which is so fun because my entire career, everyone says shallow, shallow, shallow for production. And they wanted to push the boundaries of how deep we can go. And they were still learning. And so that was really fun. And she was so popular that they said, let's do a whole series. So that was not planned as a series in the beginning. It was just because she was doing so well that they said, let's keep going.
Well, that's a great piece of info.
Did you do the Privateer series as well?
No.
No. Okay. Because I know those were also. Yeah. Now, talking about relief, what is bas relief? And would this be considered bas relief?
It's pronounced ba. You
ba.
dropped the
Oh,
S.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. This happens all the time. It looks like
relief.
bas relief, right?
Yep.
So ba is French for low.
Okay.
And so you can say low relief in English. You can say bas relief in standard, which is the French, or basso rilievo in Italian. It's all the same thing. It just means low relief.
Okay.
And then mezzo relief and alto relief are half and then high relief. And
okay, so this would be alto.
High relief is like the Arc de Triomphe, where the statues are coming out 3-dimension. You could actually wrap your hands around them. That's all.
Okay. Okay. Fantastic. All right. And this would be the reverse. And then we'll jump over to this one right here. So I kind of notice a theme that you like to, or at least from how I perceive it, a lot of your pieces have a lot of empty space in the field, which kind of allows more of the attention to go to the, I guess, the piece in the center, or the focal point. Does that sound right? Or
that's a great observation. Yeah, because I notice a lot of modern coins get really busy. They try to put everything but the kitchen sink in there, George Washington crossing the Delaware, all on a little coin. And if you look back at the ancient Egyptian coins, they're so brilliant. I used to think they were primitive, but if you look at them, they're really brilliant because they stand out practically across the room because they knew how to work with the scale of a coin and make it bold yet realistic. And now that we have the ability to put finite detail in it and we can zoom in on the computer, we've lost a little bit of that sensibility of composition, how to make a design really pop, which is to use some negative space.
And then we have the Pegasus, right?
Yeah, this was designed by someone else and sculpted by me.
Okay.
And I apologize. I never knew the name of the designer of this. And this is common. Someone will bring to me an existing drawing, and it had a lot of anatomy problems with the horse. So I actually like doing that. I like taking some problematic artwork and making it work, and then turning it into 3-dimension, making it realized in form.
All right. And then we have the Temptations of the Succubus.
This was a fun one. Yeah, of course, this is a series done by different artists instead of one artist doing the whole series. And so they had reached out to some other illustrators that were not coin designers at first. And I had a full schedule, so I couldn't help them for those first couple rounds. But then finally I had an opening so I could do it. And I thought it was a really fun concept of her just taking advantage of the guy.
So this one, I also noticed on the right side with those glyphs on the wall or on the pillar, it kind of seems similar to the Egyptian gods, because you have that other, I don't remember what it's called, the Egyptian plaque that has their hieroglyphs on it. It seems similar to that. And I guess, would you consider that maybe like a trademark of your work, or?
I do like to utilize incuse line and also raise, so you have full use of depth instead of just always everything off of a flat background.
All right. Yeah, it's a gorgeous piece.
Thank you.
And the Zombucks.
This was fun, a little controversial at the time. Of course, there's been many more like it since then, a lot of copycats. And when they called me and asked me to do this, I'm like, what? All right, let's try it. And it was kind of fun.
So which mint was this with?
I think this was also Provident.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And this one right here, this is also a fan favorite, I think.
For sure.
I think of all my coins, I'm pretty sure this has been struck the highest number of times.
Wow.
And
all
she's, she comes in copper, gold, 1 ounce, 5 ounce, 10 ounce, fractionals. I've lost track. Yeah. And so when I'm hired to do these, I'm just hired to do the model for a flat fee. And then it's up to the customer what they do with it. So this was just a runaway hit, and I get comments all the time on this. It's been incredibly popular.
That's awesome. And then we have the Labors of Hercules, and this was a series, correct?
Right. This was a set of all of Hercules' labors, and that was a challenge of how to portray that, because I didn't want to repeat him on every coin doing some action that was just too repetitive. So I wanted to be more symbolic of those. And this particular one, like the girdle, like I don't even know what that is. I had to do a little digging to figure out what exactly is that. It's more like a belt. They call it a girdle, but it's more of a belt. And just completely invented this character that's wearing the belt.
But again, the fields being open, it just there's so much to take in with just that design itself.
So I like to, there's plenty of detail there, but the detail is not lost.
No, it's not.
So aside from those pieces, you have done work that's been minted, let's say by Nui in this case. I guess what percentage would you say has actually been minted into coinage versus like artistic rounds?
It's a pretty small percentage. And this one, it was done quite a while ago. I don't remember what year. So I'm working with American companies that are working with foreign mints. And of course, Nui has particular laws that are attractive to people who want to make a legal tender instead of just a bullion piece. So this one, I actually designed it as a bullion piece, and then the client decided to monetize it.
Nice. Very nice. And you've also done tokens. Yep. And these are casino tokens. So there's Caesar's Palace, and I think there was one other one that I don't have the image for, but very awesome designs. And then
I did a lot of those for several years when I worked at Global Minting. We were working with 80 different casinos doing one particular type of slot machine, and it kept the mint busy for years just doing that tiny sliver of what Las Vegas does.
That's wild. And then we have these ones. This is tell me what this is. I love this. Yeah, it's gorgeous.
It is
one of my favorites. This was an award for a club at Yale University. So they have the Elizabethan Club, which houses a rare book collection that has these just gorgeous antique pieces in a vault. So this is the vault contraption here that protects the book. And they have one librarian there who was retiring after 30 some years, and they really wanted to honor him in a special way. And he was a coin collector. And so that's how they got the idea to make a medal for him. And he had no idea this was being made. And that they struck a handful of them to be given to future recipients who have service to the club. But he was the first. And I got to be there when he opened that box. And it was literally a jaw drop moment when he saw it. He was speechless. And that is so fun for me.
Yeah, that's stunning. So I did select one sculpture, right? Would this be considered a sculpture, or how would you consider this?
Yeah, non-metal sculpture. Yeah,
non-metal. So it's stunning. So this is, if I'm not mistaken, Pandora's bottle or vial. Is that right?
It's just Pandora. I forget
Pandora.
what my title is. Isn't that terrible? So this is a large piece. It's I think it's about 17 inches across.
Wow.
And so it's cast in bronze. It's pretty heavy. And the concept here is the story of Pandora's box. An older, more antique version of the story, it wasn't a box, but a jar.
Mm-hmm.
And as she opened the jar and all the evils of the world came out, and then she clapped her hand back on the top of the jar real quick. The only thing left in the jar was hope. So hope is represented by the bird still in the jar. But in my version, it's symbolic of women speaking their mind. So she is the vessel. And she didn't open the box. She opened her mouth and she spoke her mind. And that's what caused all the trouble around her. But she's not sorry. She did it on purpose.
All right.
Nice.
Where can this be seen at?
This is available on my website.
Gotcha.
So you have pieces for sale, like if a viewer wanted to pick something up, or even if they wanted to commission work, how would they go about doing that?
Right. So I have a website where my studio pieces are available. I have these larger bas reliefs, and I also have cast metals. The other examples that you've shown, those were all struck coins and metals.
Mm-hmm.
I have studio cast metals that are available on my website, and then my email address is available there for commissions.
All right. And one more piece I want to show, because this one is, again, it's stunning. What is this? What are we looking at?
What are we looking at? These are 16 feet high mahogany doors.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
For a church in Pensacola, Florida. And because of the location, these have to be hurricane proof.
Sure.
So these
Wow.
are some hefty doors. Each bronze panel is 2 foot by 2 foot and very high relief.
Wow.
And these were cast in Seattle. And then I drove them from Seattle to Pensacola to be installed in the doors. It was a big project.
Wow.
These are based on paintings inside the St. Paul's Cathedral in London.
Wow. Yeah. And they're stunning. They're magnificent. And that door, I want that door on the front of my house.
Like, I think I got my door at Home Depot.
That's fantastic. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about money in general. A lot of our viewership, they're very big into the precious metals. They're not only their perceived value, but the actual value of that as money versus fiat currency, paper money. What's your take on that now being in the coin world for some time?
Yeah, I hear this a lot, the fiat versus the intrinsic value. And of course, all the bullion pieces, they do have an intrinsic value that doesn't go away. And that's very appealing. And so my job is to make them more appealing just by what's on them. Because if you buy this bullion piece from Joe or you buy this bullion piece from Rob, it has the same intrinsic value, but what's on the metal then changes its value above and beyond the intrinsic value.
Absolutely, because now they're buying art, right?
Right.
That's
Hopefully.
awesome. Yeah, no, definitely.
Not all of them are, right?
Do you have any thoughts on, I guess, as time goes on, as inflation continues, the usability of something like a penny or even a nickel becomes a little bit almost unnecessary. Do you think that we might see within the next several decades a drop off of the penny, the minting of the penny or nickel?
Well, even though I love coins, I'm very much in the favor of dropping the penny and the nickel both, especially the penny. And I'm in favor of dropping the paper dollar and circulating the dollar coin. Other countries have benefited from this, like Canada. And at first, the population of Canada, they weren't so keen on this idea, but now they love their loonies and toonies because it was kind of, someone made an executive decision like, we need to do this. It doesn't make any sense not to do this anymore. But in our country, we have had so much trouble getting people on board with dropping and changing our coins. A penny literally can't buy anything anymore. And it costs
not even copper.
No,
it's not copper. So it doesn't have any intrinsic value. It costs more, even after all of the research and development. They still haven't been able to make a penny for a penny. When I was on the CCAC, I think it was, I forget now. It was over 3 cents. I think still is over 3 cents to make. I haven't looked at the latest statistics, but it's a losing game, and people just literally dump them on the sidewalk. It doesn't make any sense. And I know that the Mint wants to drop it, and the multiple directors of the Mint have gone to Congress and begged them, please stop making pennies. And we could also do away with the nickel because that costs more. I think it's 7 cents to make a nickel. And if we would simply circulate the coins that we already have for dollars and drop the paper dollar, we could save $30 million over the course of the next, 30 years. Just by that one thing. We don't have to raise taxes. We don't have to drop services. Just from that one simple thing, we can save a ton of money.
So what's stopping them? What do you think is stopping them?
Lobbyists. So we've got paper manufacturers, ink manufacturers that are lobbying Congress to keep these. There's a certain sentimentality of the public that just doesn't want to change. Oh, a penny for your thoughts or whatever sentimental ideas that they have. But on a practical level, it just doesn't serve this country anymore to keep these currencies. And people also, they say, oh, but it would be so heavy in my pocket to have a dollar coin instead of a paper dollar. But then they want to hang on to their pennies and nickels, and that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, you want the weight of the pennies and nickels, but you don't want the weight of the dollar coin.
Right.
If you talk to Canadians, do you say, are your pockets like super heavy? No.
No.
When you go to the UK and you have a 1 pound coin in your pocket, are you like, oh my God, my pockets are so heavy, I can't walk? No, of course not. It's just a matter of adapting.
Right. Yeah, and jumping back over to the Mint and their minting of their flagship bullion coin, the American Silver Eagle, in comparison to other countries like China that does the panda, or the kookaburra in Australia, those countries have a bullion piece that changes from year to year, which kind of increases its appeal. People want to collect them. Do you feel the U.S. is kind of missing out there by not doing something like that?
Yeah, when I was on CCAC, we were really in favor of producing a series like the kookaburra, like the Britannia and the panda, where it was coming out every year with a Lady Liberty coin. And we really pushed for that, and we did get that started, although it's changed into something else now. And I believe that they're doing it every 2 years instead of every year. And they've gotten away from the Lady Liberty theme, where it's just a Liberty theme, which is open to a broad spectrum of interpretation. Like you saw, the bucking bronco is representing Liberty, and the public is loving that. I don't know that the collectors are like, I have to have every one that comes out, but each individual one that has come out has been quite popular from what I hear. Yes.
Yeah. And actually, I do have one on my desk right now.
Yeah, this is the first one. Yeah.
Yep. And this is
that the second?
2017, I think, was the year that the 1 ounce came out. This is the 10th ounce was 2018.
I think that was the second in the series. Yeah.
So this one, as I understand it, had a little bit of controversy behind it. Is that correct?
A lot of controversy. Yes.
And
this is one of the things I'm most proud of it for my time on the CCAC. And for those who don't know, the Citizens Coinage Advisory Committee is a committee of 11 people that review all the designs that the U.S. Mint makes. And we have, by law, we review all of the designs. And if we don't review a design, it doesn't get made. So we can, if we want to get tough and would say, we refuse to review this, they cannot make it. So there is some power there. Wow. It also gets reviewed by the Commission of Fine Arts. And then both committees make a formal recommendation. Now, it's not a choice. It's just a recommendation to the Secretary of the Treasury, who signs off on that final design. And so it's a long process, and it's a very carefully orchestrated process. But one of the things that we really pushed for is more representation on American coins. And when this packet came to us and it had this beautiful African-American face as representing Lady Liberty, we were so excited, and we really pushed to get that made, and we did get it. And I'm so proud of that. And I had a woman that I met just randomly, and she found out what I did, and she said, oh, I don't collect coins, but I was walking by. She lived in Washington, D.C. She said, I was walking by the mint, and I saw the poster for that coin, and I bought that for my daughter. She'd never bought a coin before in her whole life. And that's it right there. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
And at the time that came out, I remember reading the trolls online were just brutal.
Yes.
Coin, brutal. Talking about Michelle Obama, or where's the watermelon, or
wow.
I'm not racist, but it's ugly.
Yeah.
That just proved to me again and again how much we need it.
Yeah.
That's a great, what you brought up about the woman buying it. What'd you say for her daughter? In our world, I guess I can't speak for Emil, but we see a lot of, is it worth to buy because you're going to make money on it on a resale? You see a lot of that. You see a lot of videos talking about eBay sales, and if okay, let's just say you paid $2,400 for that coin, what's it selling for after the fact? And it's stories like yours that I like to hear, that somebody actually bought it, that's collecting it, or bought it for someone who will actually really enjoy it rather than trying to make a few bucks on it.
Right. And like that Purple Heart that you showed, not many people are buying that because they think they can make money on it later. It's such an emotional topic. They're buying it to give to their grandpa who has a Purple Heart, and they want to just emphasize that part of their family. So there's a lot that goes on beyond just the resale value.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And it's great to hear stories like that. So thanks for sharing that.
And I hear a lot of the resales people, they complain that, there's, I'm paying $2 above spot. Why am I paying so much above spot? But then they want to sell it on eBay for double what they paid for it.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
They have some unrealistic expectations about that resale.
Yeah. Yeah. Spot's kind of gone crazy lately, but that's.
Yeah, I saw it's up today.
Yeah. Regarding, maybe you could help us out a little bit. Our viewership, they like to be educated on what they're buying, on what they're handling, what they're dealing with. There's a term that we discussed before we started the recording called spaghetti hair. And I thought that would be a very fun topic, something educational for everybody to kind of learn something from Heidi. So can you tell us what spaghetti hair is? I'll bring up, let's bring up the original
That's
quarter.
A classic George Washington. So this is the art nerd opportunity for me. So if you see the hair on George there, it's very subtle in the waves, and it looks very much like hair, because hair, when you look at a person, you don't see every single strand of their hair. You see the patterns that the hair creates as it clumps together.
Emil, that's hair.
Yes. Thank you. Okay. I don't know what that is.
And then if you have an example of spaghetti hair, you can see the comparison here. And I don't know who it was at the mint. And this was someone's idea that, we need to sharpen up that hair from that old dye. Can we just engrave every single hair in there? And they thought that this was going to make it look bold and beautiful. And when the public got their hands on it, they said, look at the spaghetti hair. So and that nickname just stuck.
Nice.
And I think it's absolutely appropriate. It is very much spaghetti hair, and it's not the fault of the artist. They were told to do this.
Now how many years did that run for? Was it just that 1 year, the 98?
No, it was many years. In fact, there are still versions of that. It's changed a little, but it's not gone back to the original.
Okay.
Mm. Yeah, and now there's that new George Washington design, the right-facing
Right.
Okay. So Heidi, we're going to put your contact info in our description section below. So if anybody wants to reach out to you for projects, commission work, or just to purchase one of your awesome art pieces, they'll be able to do that. Polly, do you have anything else?
I just got one question. Okay. You're a very, very well-known, great artist. Is there a specific piece that you haven't done that is one of your favorites? That it would be I guess, a coin version. Are you a coin collector? Do you have one that is like, this is it for me?
I do collect some coins. In fact, I'm wearing my favorite coin here. You probably can't see. This is the Indian head by Leon Pratt. It's the only one that was incused below the surface of all the coins. And I love this. It has the eagle on the other side and the Indian head on one side. I do love that.
Cool
coin. But I don't have a specific coin that is on my wish list. I have so many good opportunities that come along. It seems endless, like things that I've never thought of before. Right now I'm working on an award for the Alzheimer's Foundation, which is incredibly meaningful. My grandmother had Alzheimer's. So when that came across my board, I'm like, how can I say no to that? That's something that I can do that keeps me connected and maybe add some momentum to that whole thing. There's just so many applications for coins. It's mind-blowing that I never imagined when I started.
That's amazing. Great stories.
I don't know if I answered your question.
No, you showed one, so I mean that works for me, and that's a great design. What year is it?
This one is
the one you're wearing.
1929 is this one.
Okay.
All right. All right. Well, to the viewers, I want to just throw this up here real quick. This is a 5-ounce silver pour that we're going to be giving away. There's 3 ways
you
to
can
win.
get in on this as well.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
Yeah. There's 3 ways to win. You'll find those in the description section below. Heidi, I can't thank you enough for taking time out of your day to come meet with us.
Yes,
this has been an absolute pleasure and very educational for us and an honor for sure.
Well, you guys are a joy. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, guys, you are listening to The Crucible. We'll catch you guys next time.